Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today for What's Your Why Wednesday. I'm Laura Brandeo, and I am joined by the lovely Dianna Thompson. She is a loan officer at Nexa. All right, Dianna, we all know most of us came into our industry by accident, but we stayed in the industry because it's tied to our personal and professional why. So please share with us, what's your why?
That's a great question. I'm glad we started with that question. Just like I think anything you do in life, you have to resonate with what you do. And one of the reasons I got into the industry is because I was turned down by a couple lenders. I had worked on my credit, I had money saved, all the right things we're supposed to do, tried a few of the local down payment assistance programs, and I kept consistently getting turned down. So I started Googling things, I started researching things, and found out indeed I could qualify for a house. So I ended up talking to a local broker. He liked all the things I had to say. And that was my first job in the industry. He went ahead and hired me. And about, a month or two later, I was in my first house with the agent gave us a 1% rebate, and I did a down payment assistance program, and I got a free refrigerator. So that was kind of like, once I was in the industry, it was like no turning back. So that's kind of my why of how I got into it. I didn't want to hear any more no's.
That is a fantastic story. And it's interesting. I've heard that same, not exactly the same, but close. I've heard many women say, well, I knew there was a way for me to get into a home, and I was not being heard, or I was not being guided the right way, because it wasn't necessarily that it was a no. It wasn't the right program, right? So maybe you needed to be guided better. Maybe you needed to have assistance, like you mentioned about credit, right? Maybe there was a few things that could have been adjusted, but maybe people weren't spending adequate time to understand your situation, which of course is the whole purpose of being a broker, right? That's what mortgage brokers do. They listen to the client to determine the best program and the best options and the way to guide these families home. I love that story. So what year was that?
This was before the first crash. So I've been in the industry for over 10 years total. This was 2000 and about 2006.
Okay. Oh, right before the crash.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Interesting. And how did you come to work for that person? Like, how did that happen?
I was Googling things, like I said, and their company was near where I lived at the time.
Yeah.
And I had all my little paperwork and all my little printouts of why I thought I should qualify. And he was really impressed. He's like, you don't have any industry. My background was project management.
Ah,
So very intuitive, very analytical. So I think even to this day, I think that's why my team and I are so successful sometimes, because I look at it differently. I analyze the situation and I don't put everybody in the same box.
exactly.
So I think that's what happened. And he was really impressed. He said, wow, I've never seen anyone with no experience, take this approach.
Oh, I love that. And how great is that, right? And kudos to him for looking at you and recognizing that the way you approach it could be very valuable to his company, right? And I love hearing stories like that because a couple of things. Number one, for everyone in the mortgage industry that is listening to this right now, when you are approached in any, whether it's someone serving your dinner, that might be a waiter or waitress, or that person at the local shop that you're interacting with, or potentially a client or someone you're helping, pay attention to those special people, because those special people could be a valuable asset to your team if we just open the door to the opportunity of giving them their first chance. So I love that story because it once again shows the talent that is out there when we do open our industry out to other people. Love that. Okay, here's my most favorite question. This is the one I get total joy out of. All right, we know the impact that we have on others by what we do in helping families. So, Dianna, can you please share a story, just one? I'm sure you have many. Give us a story of when you just realized, wow, I really made a difference in these people's lives.
Well, one of my platforms I like to say, and I know some of us say it, but I really do truly mean it, is building generational wealth, changing lives. And I had a client, I helped her get a house. She was in her mid 40s, something like that. And she's like, I'm the first person in my family to ever own a house. And I'm like, wow, you're kidding me. And she was one of our success stories. Her credit wasn't the best. We gave her some guidelines, some tips and tools, showed her some things to do to improve it. And she did everything we said we did, we told her to do. And it took about 2 or 3 months, but she stood her ground. She did everything we said. And when we showed up for closing, as brokers, we don't go to many closings as we should, but that is something I've been trying to do, especially now that COVID's let up, is to attend every closing. The look on everyone's face is worth it right there. But in the corner, there was someone I didn't recognize. And, I'm very friendly, as we all know. And, I'm introducing myself and finally I said, well, who's that in the corner? It wasn't the attorney, wasn't one of the realtors. She said, oh, that's my mother. She didn't believe it was going to be true. She didn't really think that this was going to happen. So of course I said, hey, nice to meet you and everything. And I said, well, let me ask you a question. Have you thought about buying a house? And she said, no. In fact, I don't know if my daughter told you, I didn't ever think she could get a house either. So I said, you know what, let's celebrate your daughter today. Took him out to a quick, little lunch afterwards. And the next day I talked to her mom, got her pre-qual started. Turns out her mother had a 680 plus score, 20 years on the job, cookie cutter, that number one broker out there we always use, lender. And 27 days later, I closed the mother too. So I didn't change one life, I actually changed 2 lives. Just like you said, just opening myself up to just talk to someone.
That's right.
And so that's one of my favorite stories, because yeah, it was great. I helped the daughter, but I actually helped both of them.
So you just said a whole bunch of things. I mean, we can pull that whole story apart. Okay. Yeah. So number one, you helped the first person that in that whole family had never had home ownership. Okay. So it starts there. And you took the time to put, now she did her work, right? She had some homework and she had to take action, and she did that. She listened, she took action, you stuck with her. So that was first. Then you attended the closing, which is so important because, like you said, you do want to celebrate that with them, because you will forever be connected to them in their heart, in their mind. They'll picture you as part of that closing, right? So you're there. But then you didn't stop. You analyzed this again, you assessed the situation, right? When you got there, and you were like, all right, there's someone I'm not familiar with, right? There's someone different here. And you didn't just say, oh, hi, mom. You kept going. You then, asked questions. And Dianna, what you did, of course, you did it with the daughter, but you've changed that entire family look on home ownership. You've created a ripple where now they believe, well, that's what you do. You own a home. That's just part of what we do in our lives. And that will happen for generations that are not even born at this moment. So kudos for all of that. And what a great teaching lesson for everyone out there, because sometimes we think, I don't have to attend the closing, or my focus is my client here. Well, actually, it's much bigger than all of that, right? Much bigger. Congratulations. I love that. All right. Great stuff. One final question. All right. So we know how you came in. We know what you're doing now. Now tell me, what do you want to leave behind? What do you want your legacy to be?
That's something, I have a vision board. And that's something Probably at least once a year, twice a year, I circle back around because, sometimes you have to make adjustments. But my legacy is, and we already kind of touched upon it, just changing people's lives. We created a team. We call our team the Mortgage Blueprint. It's a little program we created. And because what we found is we need to not only listen, we need to educate, and we need to give them, we call it the blueprint, to home ownership. So sometimes it might be a credit issue, an income issue, but we created the program to really help get everybody into a house. I want to be known as the girl that is the yes person. I almost want to be like Oprah, you get a house, you get a house, you get a house. I'm kind of already known as, a lot of people say, oh, I've been turned down by another lender. Can you please look at it? I just want to leave an impact, like you said, with that one family, that even if it's the first generation I help,
Yeah.
that they know there is hope and there's tools and education and people out there that really care to help get them in a home. I guess the way we summarize it is we're trying to end the generational renter curse.
Exactly. Oh, I love that.
So that's kind of like,
and the generational renter curse. I love that.
so that's kind of what our goal was, recently, and going forward. We, like you said, we really resonated with that too. We have people that are renting like $2,400.
I know.
And that's just, I'm in the South, people in California, $3,000-$4,000.
I know.
And we can show you how to, for the same amount or less, own a home, build equity, so.
Well, look at where we are right now in 21 and look at 20, right? I can think of numerous people that I personally know that have said to me, Laura, because the value in my home went up so much, I'm able to sell the home that I bought 15 years ago, 20 years ago, sell that home, take that profit, pay, not have a mortgage, go move like maybe up north or in a suburban area and buy again, but a much smaller home because now their kids are gone, they're empty nesters. I know numerous people that literally retired because they had so much profit on the equity of their homes that they were able to change their entire life going forward. But you can only do that when you own a home, not paying rent for $2,400, $3,000 a month, because you're never obviously gaining that equity. So this is the education. This is the power and the impact that we can all make. And that's why we're so blessed to be mortgage professionals. Wow. Well, Dianna, you are doing amazing things. I love your mission. Keep doing those blueprints and keep changing the world out there. And we truly appreciate you and everything you're contributing. Take care.
Thank you so much.